hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
He was saying something over and above that of any other leader of that day. While the other leaders were begging for entry into the house of their oppressor, he was telling you to build your own house.
Woo-hoo. Testing 1, 2. Sorry, we got started a few minutes late, but as I always say, that is because I am a business owner. RPC Computing, 1741 East 71st Street, 773-966-4457. Sorry, I'm hearing a little feedback here. Correcting that. And a lot of times now when I get in, I don't get to do my testing and adjusting. So we will play around with that till we figure it out. Wasn't going to do a show tonight. Then I said, you know what? Because this is my birthday week, I've been trying to relax. Didn't do a whole lot of research, but there was something that happened that I got into a discussion with a few people. This is a week or so ago, but people have probably seen it. I want to see, maybe I can bring it up here, where a young lady by the name of, and I want to mess it up, Denigma Howard. Back in January, she goes to Marshall High School here in Chicago. And she was drugged by officers out of the classroom, tased, punched. And a lot of people were like, well, you know, that's what she gets. And this, okay, fine, if that's what you feel. I don't think anybody's actually going to stand by and watch their child take a beating from the cops, whether they're right or wrong. I wouldn't watch my wife take a beating from the cops, whether she was right or wrong. Why can't black folks get arrested with dignity? That was my question. Why can't they get arrested with dignity, or in a feasible manner that doesn't require you taking a maximum beating? Then I found out it was the father himself, instead of jumping into the situation, he was videotaping the situation. And everybody said, well, that's good, because now he's got a lawsuit because they did drop the charges against the young lady, that both those cops were fired. So they probably will get some money. But I was kind of astounded at some of the people. I don't know how many people have actually seen this. Let me see if I can actually try to play it for you. I don't know if the sound's going to come through, but hopefully it will. Let me play this. Now, I don't know if the sound was coming through. It probably wasn't. But to illustrate what was going on, she was taken out of her class, pushed down the stairs, aggressively grabbed by the foot right there. Another cop has his foot on her. And then this other cop's going to give her a couple of shots to the face. Boom, boom. And then the father starts explaining how helpless he felt as he looked on to this situation. And it was kind of amazing. You know, some people are going to say, well, he did the right thing by getting this on videotape. One of my things I mentioned to one of my friends, I said, how's your daughter going to respect you if she knows you willingly, forget the money, but you willingly, like so many other people do in the world, videotape this nonsense instead of getting the police off your child? I don't know how that works in some people's mindsets. You know, everybody's going to handle things a little differently. I personally am going to jail before I stand around and watch you beat. Yeah, okay, I noticed that the audio wasn't coming through, so I just did a quick narration of that. So, and you're a perfect person to have on this, because you also worked in the school system. But what we had is, and here's my point. Everybody else can voice their points in the chat. If you're on the Facebook side, we posted the link where you can come over to the YouTube side, click the button, click subscribe, click notification, and we'll be happy to see you over on this side. So after this whole altercation, then the young lady was arrested. Now, mind you, she's 16, and I don't know what the school policies are, but if you are 16 and being disruptive in class and someone has to be called, why wasn't the authority, as such as the principal or vice principal, informed of this? Now, it's amazing when I was a kid in school, and I know times are differently, but they shouldn't be. If you gave the teacher too much hell, then they were going to go get the vice principal, Miss Dawson. And she was going to come with her megaphone and her paddle and address you that way. I guess that's child abuse now. So, perfect incident. I had a teacher, Mr. Logabo, sheet metal. He had rules of not combing your hair in class. I was combing my hair in class, but I had taken licks the prior day, and I was just sore. I just couldn't take any licks. Now, I took licks many times before in school from this teacher. I had been taken to the washroom and punched in the chest with this teacher. I had been, as they call, teachers were allowed to straighten us out. And so it never got to my parents. So that would be my first question with this dude is, are you checking your kids at home? Because like a lot of other people trying to make the point, if you check your kids enough and instill enough fear in their hearts. Hey, Monique, thanks for joining. And you instill enough fear into their hearts, they would be so afraid of what you would do that they wouldn't dare go into the school and disrespect any adult, teachers, police officer, anything. I get that. That's clear. But what's not clear is, how does a child with a cell phone escalate beyond the teachers, beyond the principal, to police officers' involvement, to punching, kicking, stunning, and the young lady had asthma. Could have easily triggered an asthma attack. This young lady could be dead. my whole discuss was with the father. I'm just not gonna do it. And people can say you are ignorant that you would fight police officers that are beating your child. No, you're not gonna beat them. You can arrest them in a dignified way. I know you can, because rarely do we see white kids getting beat. Now they get taken to Burger King and all this other stuff. So don't tell me you don't have enough strength in your mind and your body to detain a 16-year-old. She wasn't shooting a gun, wasn't fighting anybody. Why didn't, we need to get to the story from teacher. What were you doing, teacher? That police, it went beyond your classroom to police. Did you call the principal's office? Did you talk to a young lady? Did you say, hey, step out in the hallway with me for a minute? Yeah, some kids can be stubborn, sure. But every adult should have a routine for talking to children under 18, children 18 to 25. I have a business, and sometimes I get some young people, they come in, and they may be a little irate or something like that. And you just look at them and you just try to have a conversation with them. Like, I had a young lady, she said, well, they were making me mad. And I said, well, I understand about being mad, but you can't be that mad where you are knocked that far off your square, where you are behaving and acting in such a manner out in the public. It doesn't bother the person you're mad at. It kind of makes you look bad. And you say, yeah, you're right. So even at the age that I'm at and other people are at, if our parents were around or something, we wouldn't behave in a certain way. Some people won't smoke in front of their parents. Some people won't drink in front of their parents. We still have a certain level of respect. So I'm not even sure who this young lady lives with. Does she live with her mother? Does she live with her father? I don't know. If anybody's joining late, we're talking about the situation at the Chicago school, Marshall High School, where the young lady was beaten and dragged. Got a call coming in. Hello. Kevin, what's going on? Yeah, you're the perfect person to talk to about this situation, because
that's why I was calling, because I've been involved with CPS close to 20 years in security, and I won't take up too much of your time, but I would like to say this, that we're dealing with a different group of kids nowadays. And it doesn't help that the CPS, what they've done is change rules and regulations and policies around so much that it enables kids to act out more. Nowadays, kids are more confrontational. So you can ask kids to do things in the best possible way, but you're going to always get this attitude behind it by most of them, not all of them. There's some real wonderful students in CPS, but they're getting swallowed up behind all of the foolishness. And the discipline is in such a way that you got a 50-50 chance on how these kids are going to respond, no matter how you approach them. And I've had, over my time, I'm fortunate to be able to talk with kids and read them, but you have some kids that no matter how, like I said, you approach them, they're hell bent on bringing you that attitude and challenging you, and you have to pull back a lot of times when it happens, because you can get yourself in trouble. But these kids will cuss at you, cuss you out, and they're all covered. So I don't condone what the police officers have did to this young lady at all. For me to say I understand, I kind of do understand the frustration behind it, you still have to maintain yourself, because I know that feel. But until we continue to do our job as parents at home, which is disciplining and checking your kids, we'll have this problem. And until CPS rewrites these rules and regulations and begin to hold these kids accountable, because there used to be a time when I was in school, wasn't none of that. And if you got put out of a school, guess what? Your parents had to get up and find you another place to go to. But now it's not like that. Now you got third, fourth, fifth chances, and the attitudes behind it from the kids are just horrible. But again, you do have some wonderful, wonderful kids out there, but they get swallowed up behind all of the nonsense that these other students were allowed to do and are allowed to do.
Right.
Period. Right.
And my question was, from the standpoint, I just was wondering, what is the escalation process? If I'm wondering, how did it go from the teacher in the classroom to officers? Is there a protocol for, okay, this is a problem child, I need you to, like they would tell us, no, you going down to the principal office. And if we didn't go to the principal office, then the principal would come looking for us. As I said in my case earlier, I got kicked out of the class. I went to the cafeteria. The principal came in with the bullhorn and the paddle and called my name out, and everybody banged on the table. So I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah, but there is a protocol. Usually, when you get a call and get a disruptive student, and again, it depends on who that student is, because some students will come out willingly. Other students, they really want to show out. And if I'm dealing with a situation like that, if I can't get the student to come out, I'll either call the dean and let the dean. And normally, by the time we get to the dean, they'll come out. I normally can get them to come out. It all depends on the rapport that you have with a kid. But in that situation, if you get to the dean and the dean can't do it, then the assistant principal or the principal should then intervene and come in. And then sometimes you have to physically remove that student. Because if it gets to that point, then there's a problem.
Right, I'm saying, how does it get to that point?
And that's a good question. And like I said, and things that I've experienced was just the fact that some kids are just going to be unruly, and that's just period. And they don't care who come up there. Like I said, I've seen kids, perform and behave in manners that's just like, and when you don't correct them, it's almost like you're rewarding them. Because what that happens is it sets up in the mindset of other kids, oh, if he or she can get away with that, why not me? I'll push the envelope. I'll do this. And then you have this culture of people being defiant. And that's the worst place you can be in a school setting, especially a high school setting.
Right, because it's a high school setting. I see all these kids have on uniforms and things like that, and they have a structure. I think dragging the kid down the stairs is only going to aggravate the situation. Stun guns and punching. And that was my thing as I talk to people about this. I'm like, no, you can arrest my kid in a dignified way, but I'm not going to stand here and watch you punch them. Because first of all, I'm going to reach in to grab them up by their collar in the first damn place and knock the hell out of them myself. Because I didn't send you to school like this. So if I come up here and this type of behavior is going on, regardless of what the cops did, maybe they felt justified in their own way to grab you up. But as I showed this video, as we're talking, and there's a security lady kind of blocking off the father or whatever, I just don't understand his actions. His daughter has asthma and all these type of things. He's not trying to talk to the cops or anything like that. And then there's another, I don't know, is he a teacher or what in this situation? I just found it to be absolutely ridiculous. Just the same as there was a video where a young lady wouldn't leave, and the cop picked up the whole desk with her in it and threw the kid and hurt the kid. At a certain point, I say, you got to be able to arrest my child with some respect. I can't stand around, even if I get arrested myself. That's what I'm gonna do, because I'm not gonna stand here and watch you beat him and punch him and kick him. I think that's going too far for me as a parent to watch. Even if they're wrong, right or wrong, that's too much. You doing too much, and I'll just have to go to jail on that one, because I want my.
And like I said, I'm sorry, I'll cut you off.
No
like
problem.
I said, it has to get to the point. Once it gets to that point, that needs to be some sort of discipline that needs to take place before, because like I said, the challenge is the defiance,
Right.
and it's that belligerent type of attitude. And if you don't walk away as an adult, you get yourself in trouble. And a lot of times it's pride that keeps us there in some situations. But man, behavior like that should not go unchecked, and it should not go unpunished. And how we do that, a lot of that, like I said, because CPS has crafted these rules and regulations, which basically favors the kids in every possible way. And I understand we want to protect our kids, but man, we have to do better in terms of there should be a punishment, because if we don't correct these kids now while they're in school, the same stuff that they doing in school, when they get outside, it changes.
Right.
So you're not going to buck up and get buck wild with no police out in the public like that.
Right.
Because it'll get handled just the way that did, unfortunately, for that young lady. But we're setting up a mindset for these kids to be defiant, and bad things happen when you develop that sort of mentality. And you said it earlier, it starts at home. And sometimes, though, the parents don't even know that their kids act the way they act. I wish that they could go back to a thing where you can just pop up at your school.
Yeah,
You get that notification.
I used to pop up
Good
all the
job.
time. I just pop up, and I would get on the teachers, and I know what you're saying about the rules. I think I told you the story one time. I'm walking past a grammar school, and I see this one young lady is just stomping this other young lady down, and the crowd is around, and I'm like, first of all, I'm looking for an adult on the playground. There is no adult around. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something here, because this kid could possibly injure and kill this other kid because she was stomping her in the head. So I break this fight up, and I take them into the office, and immediately they get on my case. Well, sir, you can't touch people's kids and this and this. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have to touch nobody's kid if there was adult supervision on the playground. This young lady was stomping this young lady in the face. Now, as an adult, I felt maybe I could come in here with these young ladies and present the case, and then you all could straighten it out. But now you're standing here telling me like you got to call the police on me. And that's the problem I have with the rules and regulations in society. I took care of my younger brothers and sisters, and one day I had to give them a whooping at the police station, where, of course, just pissed off the judge. And just like I had to tell the judge, I was like, well, let me tell you something, Judge. Where I live, I'm the king. What I say goes. Forget what your rules and regulations say in society, that I can't discipline this kid when and where I want to, and they need to know I don't give a damn if we're at the police station. You can get it wherever I decide to give it to you at, and I'll get arrested and go to jail for it. So are we now scared to discipline our kids at home that they feel that like they can go to school and behave like this.
And that's my point, because that's why I said CPS has set up their rules, and then society has its rules, and it's all towards the destruction of our kids,
Right.
our black. Because if you're telling us we can't touch them at home, then you're telling us we can't punish them for outbursts at school. They created this crap called restorative justice, which is just what I said, it's a bunch of crap. And they implemented all of these things, and in the meantime, what they're not telling you is that the police are the ones that can check your kid anytime they want to. But when it comes to us, the black parents, oh no, you can't touch them at home and you can't touch them in school. So doesn't that sound like a setup to you?
Right. You damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Exactly. And so a lot of parents, a lot of teachers or employees, they literally scared to deal with their kid or deal with that kid, and you tend to be standoffish, and that helps put this attitude in this mentality in these kids' heads that, oh, I'm untouchable. And they'll tell you too, they'll tell you quick, oh, you grown, you can't do this or you can't do that. And knowing that you're grown, but they figure, but I can cuss you out, I can threaten you, I can do all this, and then you have to then now defend your position and prove that this kid said this. And that's a whole nother,
And you know, you know how I know it's a setup? Because we put our daughter in Catholic school. Don't none of that stuff go on.
No, and I went to a Catholic school.
Right. It's not tolerated.
No, they wasn't having it. You was gonna get paddled.
Right. You was gonna get it. All up in the high school, they had we had a situation where the young man stood on the desk in front of our daughter one time making some pelvic gestures or whatever. So I went up there, and he went and got that kid, and the kid was in tears and everything after he got through talking to him. He immediately adjusted that. I said, well, I don't think, I think maybe he likes her or something. He just doesn't know how to express himself, but we're not going to have kids standing on desks. So,
Right.
So that was the biggest thing I ever saw happen at a Catholic school. And I don't think the calling the police, I don't want to call the police myself now. We might as well admit it. There's a problem between black people and police, period.
Absolutely.
And when you call them, you don't know how it's going to go. We done seen plenty of people call police and wind up dead. So it's like you say, it's a catch-22. It's hard for the teachers. And I'm just waiting on the rest of the story to come out, and maybe it'll come out in the lawsuit of she was in the class on the phone. I don't know. We just had teachers that would say, hey, step out in the hall. And you knew there was a problem. We had teachers that would punch us in the chest. Get yourself together, young man. We ain't got time for this. Just like that teacher in Cooley High where he told him he'll bounce him off the lockers. That was real stuff for us. So, and you never went home. You never told your parents because you already knew. They had already told you. If I got to come up to that school, you getting fucked up.
Exactly. But we don't have that.
Right. Right.
They want to do it by threatening, because you can't threaten your child like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't. And so they're setting those kids up for the reality in the real world, which is you cannot conduct, just because I will tell kids this all the time at the school. I said, what they're doing is setting you guys up for failure, because you think you can act like this once you get out of high school, and you're going to be in for a rude awakening when life hits you and your mom and dad can't save you.
Right. And you realize that's a whole different rule set out here for you and the others in the world. Cause I've seen behavior from white people and were amazed at what they get away with. So it's it's sad that we don't have our own school systems and things where we can actually put rules, because we're constantly part of our enslavement. It's the mental enslavement that makes you feel like this is our system, this is the way we put it together, and this is how you niggas gonna act, because conformity is what's necessary for us to keep you enslaved.
Yeah.
We had to mentally enslave you, and if we take this away from the parents, which, like I say, I got arrested 3 times while my sister and them were with me. They were with me 7 years, and I didn't have a problem saying, "Hey, pack your shit. You got a problem with me? You got a problem with this family? Pack up. Let's go." That's just, and then they say, "Well, you're just a hard parent. You're a militant parent." No, I'm not putting up with the shit. Oh, you're gonna tell us who gave you the officer that gave you the sale of Wolferman for what? I say, nobody got time for you, Judge. I mean, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? You whooped a kid at a police station, man. If they were in this courtroom and I had to whoop them, that's how it's gonna go down, Judge. I don't know what to tell you. And if we ever had the nerve to call the police or someone, our parents, they look at us and say, "And when I get out, I'm fucking you up again." That's it was a daily thing that you might get it growing up the way we grew up. And I would prefer that we go back to that type of lifestyle with our children and stop all this madness. Ain't nobody scared to go. If I got to go to jail when I get out, I'm fucking you up again. How about that? You don't want to be here? Pack your shit. Let's make that happen for you. We didn't get too friendly and too comfortable with our children.
Yeah.
Like this ain't no game. We ain't got time for this nonsense. You want to be locked up? You want to listen to these people? As I used to tell my sisters, you want to listen to these people? These people will put you in a horrible space. Just like you saying. They setting them up for failure.
And like you said, we parents spend too much time wanting to be cool with our kids, want to be friends with our kids, want to kick it with our kids. That's not our place. That's not our place. We can't lead them in that direction. I mean, it's okay to have a relationship with your child, but when it comes to just being cool and wanting to kick it with your kid, then why would they look at you other than just a older brother, sister, or whatever? You know, it's just that's just my belief. You know, I wrote a poem called "Point the Finger" where I talk about things like that. You know, that we have to have an example for these kids, and it's not about, you know, I'm not here for you to like me. You know, because if I don't establish that relationship, then I in essence blurred your thinking.
Right. I actually think that you should have your kids should have a certain level of dislike for you. That lets you know you are doing an excellent job as a parent. If your kids are like, "Damn, I can't stand this," that's just part of the parenthood. Yeah. I think if your kids love you all the time, it's a problem.
Oh yeah, because what happens is that sets up like you said, a disrespect for you. That they know that, man, you know, he or she never been around to do this, or I didn't know this, or when they had a chance to, you know, check me and they didn't, you know. So I know my wife, your sister, she's not having it.
Right.
She's always like that with him.
Right, because that's how we were raised. I had the situation. I was a court ordered reporter when I was doing the mentoring program at the church, and we had a situation where a young man jumped up and grabbed his mother and choked her, and the boyfriend was there and grabbed him and got him up off his mother and threw him up against a wall. I didn't understand what was the problem with that. But here comes the society. Oh no, well you can't put your hands on a kid like that. Okay, what part that says me as a man cannot protect a woman if a child is being unruly and attacking her? But the DCF wanted to step in and they wanted to remove this kid from the home and everything. Then the young man turns around and he starts to see the light, like, hey, I was wrong. I don't want to be separated from my mom and the house and all this. No, you got to go now and your sister got to go. Right. So these agencies are built to destroy the family structure, and they'll tell you, well, you whooped some kids, so you need to go to parenting class, or you need to do this, and if you don't do this, we'll take your system. I wish I would have had a camera that day at the court, because I just went in on the judge and everybody, and I pointed at the judge and every caseworker in the court, and I said, you all should be ashamed of yourself for what you're allowing these people to do to our children. They're nothing but case numbers, and they're manipulating these kids and filling their mind with nonsense that even the caseworker, the head of Department of Children's Services, came into my house, and she's like, you didn't even know I was coming. But the house is clean. The kids are clean. They're doing their homework. There's food. What's the problem, Mr. Robinson? I say the problem is I'm the king. And I'm not listening to none of this crap you all are saying. I said, do you whoop your kids? She said, yes, I do. But they're not in the system. But you will perpetrate the rules of a system that's designed to further destroy our children, and you don't stand by for yourself. That's how twisted and corrupted this world is that we live in. So we got to get some mental light bulbs on ourselves and stop. If you want to protest something, let's protest the system. Let's say, hey, I wanted to go back to kids getting a paddle. I think it was a great thing. Made us be on time, kept us out of trouble. Because, like you say, there's no fear factor now. I can talk crazy to people. I can do whatever.
It's definitely not there, And once they began to integrate all of these rules and regulations that govern our kids, and these are white people that are over it, doing it. Once that began to happen, the mindset of our kids changed, and what they don't understand is, my mother always said, she once told me at least, she said, white people don't have any business telling black people how to raise their kids because their environments are different. And what they've done, what society has done, was integrated their ideas into our kids without providing us with the same kind of environments, be it financial, but they haven't provided that part of it. So we're putting our kids at a disadvantage when you tell us you can't touch them, you can't discipline them, you can't do this, you can't do that. Leave that up to us.
Right.
Really?
Polar bears don't raise gorillas. Did you know that? Dogs don't raise monkeys. Nope. We are the only people that put our children in the hands of our enemies to raise. I tell my daughter all the time about college. I said, you're there and you're going to get the firsthand look at society as they want you to be. College is about conditioning you to work with a certain mindset in a certain environment that will be hostile towards you. I had a white man at the firm I used to work at, and he saw all the nonsense and stuff I went through. And when he was retiring, he said, you know what, Richard? I saw a lot of stuff you went through, and your professionalism was amazing. And I'm just sorry I didn't have enough in me to stand up and say something on your behalf, but I appreciate the way that you handled yourself. He basically said, I'm glad you didn't kill nobody, because we know it's bullshit. And we had to teach our kids It's bullshit. We can't keep telling our kids this is right. That's why there's so many angry young kids now. Because as they learn about it, they're like, "Oh, you didn't tell me this. You left me out here to deal with this craziness." We got to have solutions for our kids. And I'm glad you called in tonight because, like I say, I know you were in that environment, and I've talked to other teachers and people in authority, and our schools are steady going down on all levels. Like I said, I was going to just do a short show tonight. I wasn't going to do a show at all. Like I said, I'm still celebrating my birthday, but I had to get that off my chest because, like I said, a lot of people were like in agreement with what happened to the young lady. I said, if she's got to be arrested, she's got to be arrested. You're not giving my child a 2-piece because I'm sure that's not in the cop training manual. You're not stunning somebody because they got a cell phone. That's ridiculous. You're not putting your foot on somebody's chest. Because I looked at the video, that girl couldn't have been more than 120 pounds. Two big grown people can't seduce somebody. Like you say, a lot of people may be a little. What's up, Al? A lot of people may be not have the right temperament to be in those environments where these kids are going to test you. But there was always teachers that nobody ever tested. And then you probably saw that too. There were certain teachers in school, nobody even thought about testing.
Yeah.
And then there were other teachers. Oh man, we can get over on Miss Potts. She ain't gonna say nothing. Mr. Sokas ain't gonna say nothing. But Mr. Phillips with the dashiki, the real brother, he gonna say, let's step outside. I mean, we had teachers and like they used to tell us in our training with the mentors, you got to watch what you say. But Mr. Phillips used to tell us straight out, you're not doing shit probably because they ain't making you do shit at home. So you want to be a fucking bum just like your parents must be bums because you in the school acting the same way. And that was one of my favorite teachers because he kept it real. He's like, I ain't got time. He said, I ain't got time to be bullshitting with y'all.
And I'm gonna say this too before I go. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the results of those police officers and the way they went about with that young lady went down. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it all had something to do with her attitude and her defiance on what you're not gonna do. They just feel like once they're in that school environment, oh, you can't touch me, you can't do this, you can't do that. But y'all don't understand. You guys, they setting you guys up. They setting you guys up because you that attitude is gonna get you hurt. It's gonna get you hurt.
Exactly. Sandra Bland is dead because of her attitude. It's plain and simple. I graduated. Her mother graduated with me from Dunbar. She is dead because someone didn't tell her when you go to these southern states and things like that, the Klan still exists. The good old boys still exist. And you may have to watch yourself because there's no way a traffic ticket turns into a dead young lady in the cell, just like a cell phone shouldn't lead to a young lady getting beat and stumped and stunned. It's too big of a swing. But that only happens to black people because you can see a white person with a gun and shoot and kill people, and they say, "You hungry? We're gonna stop at Burger King for you."
Right.
We can't be that confused in life that we gonna turn on our kids because what society is putting out here. So on that note, we're gonna end the show like we always do. We're gonna say love, peace, and soul. And we're going to see y'all next week. Thanks, Brother Kev, for calling in. You got any final words you want to say? Well, we going to end it, and we going to get on with our lives here. Thanks, everyone on the YouTube side. On the Facebook side, please click the link for the No PC show. Click the subscribe button. You can even share it with your friends. I don't care. This is my face. And everybody be like, oh, you be putting your face all on the internet. I was a free nigga. I actually have my own business. I was free. I can do this. So on that note, peace. And as we always say, we out of here.
Step out of the car.
Do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove
I
you.
refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Now if your woman ain't no revolutionary, she'll persuade you to be a fucking slave for the rest of your days. She'll be grooming you on how to behave, teaching you how to coon and buck dance so that you can be safe. If that brother ain't no rider, soldier, no provider, molder of young minds, check it out, you got yourself a bitch. Think about the time that you invested in him. If he's wearing them skinny jeans, you a lesbian. For every 100 black women who ain't locked up, it's only 83 black men remain. Take away 1.5 million black men who might have benefited their women and their children. You don't know a war when it's waged against you, when it makes you drive your baby mama to the clinic just to kill your own. Ain't no legacy to leave behind, cause ain't nobody sitting on your throne. You motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Sandra Bland was a rider. She wouldn't have committed suicide. You a motherfucking liar. It would not be wise to stop when you hear sirens and you see the police behind you, but you don't wanna die. They gon' shoot you if you run. They gon' say that you was going for the police gun. That's why they shot you like 120 times, but you was still coming, so they put another bullet in your lung. Them devils got you praying while they murder, because they know you on that bullshit. They steady with them full clips and body armor. They kill your women in the street, cause they figure you too weak to do anything about it. You some shit, getting fucked in your sleep. They poison you every time you brush your teeth. You don't care, you behave like a slave. A bitch from the cradle to the grave, on your knees with your hands out, begging cause you wanna be saved. Are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Fuck that. Freedom or death, nigga.
If you injustice,
Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga.
you ain't getting a warning. Until now, you're going to jail.
I'm getting it. For what?